All right, guys. Had a bit of trouble trying to talk in the beginning there, but I just got home from my D&D session um, at my brother's apartment, and I don't know. I guess we'll start out by talking about it because it was pretty fun. I really enjoyed um, the session today. So just as like a recap, the character that I'm playing, his name is Stench. He's a gnome. Um, he's an umbral gnome, um, and he's covered in dirt and grime and coal dust because he works in a boiler room on his ship. But he doesn't do that anymore. He's with the party. He's with the adventuring party. Just for the moment, as they're exploring this island. Um, so yeah, the party in the last session we killed a giant whale. I say we, but it was Stench. He jumped onto the back of the whale, and I can't remember if I hit a crit, but I ended up killing him with one blow. And then he jumps back onto the ship because the way I built him is he's a kineticist that has powerful leap and the wrestler archetype. So he's like a little flaming ball that can jump around and suplex people. But yeah, they docked with an island in the party. The ship docked on an island, and it was like an abandoned kind of port town. And we're clearing out the town so the crew on the ship can come and go as they please. And the beginning is pretty quiet until we ran across these like seals. They were seals that mixed with sharks. And there's four of them, and they weren't really that beefy, but they were intimidating. Um, we were trying to sneak past them, and the elf ranger, the elf archer of our party tripped. He didn't trip, well, he tripped on a log, and that alerted these seals to our presence. And they immediately aggroed on my character, because he's small, because he's a gnome, which sucks. But yeah, one of them darts up, uses both of its action points to get close, and then uses its last action point to do an intimidation, like roar. I got feared. The archer got feared. Our great sword wielding dark elf lady, she was able to roll high enough to avoid it, and the halfling in our party also rolled high enough to avoid it. So for the entire fight, I was -1 to my AC and other various things. But yeah, this fight was fun. Even though the seals aggroed on me, none of them actually hit me. They were all going for the halfling, because she was kind of in front. I ended up in the back with the archer, while the dark elf and the halfling were up front. The halfling is I forgot what she was, but she uses magic. She has spells. She's like an artificier. Her background is a librarian in like the dark and mystic occult. So she has a lot of spells. She has throwing knives. But yeah, she ended up front. I had highest initiative besides the two seal creatures. So on my first move, I opened my kineticist gate. So the way I imagine my character doing that is he just claps his hands, just like, and just like is engulfed in flame, or like flames just start radiating off of him. So I open my gate with one action, and I know you can get technically a free action off of it by using like an elemental blast. But I didn't do that because what I wanted to do was, now that I'm engulfed in flame, the seal was diagonal towards me, just in like another square. So here's me. Here is the seal. I grab the seal. I did a grab action, and because I'm the wrestler archetype, I get Titan wrestler, so I can grab. Because I'm small, I can grab things that are medium or large, like creatures. So I grab the seal while I'm like on fire, and I use suplex. I suplexed him. It didn't do a lot of damage because I had the -4 modifier. Because in Pathfinder 2E, the edition that I'm playing, technically a grab counts as an attack. So in Pathfinder, if you attack and then attack again, you get negative modifiers for attacking that many times in a row. So I end up grabbing the seal, suplexing him. Doesn't do a lot of damage, but he does end up being prone for the rest of that turn. So the rest of my party kind of gets in. I forgot who went next. I think it was the halfling. The halfling like does her magic stuff. She ends up getting bled, but she has this thing where she can like, it like also does damage to a person who's dealing damage to her. It's like a reaction. And then what ends up happening is the dark elf lady has her two-hander, and she just straight up impales the thing. She deals enough damage to just one-shot it after we both chip it down. So that leaves 3 left. And the way they're kind of on the board is so 2 of us are like up here. The other 2 are like right next to us, but down 1 level. So I'm in the middle, and the dark elf lady is below me. And then there's a seal beneath the dark elf, and then on the flank of the seal on top. So they kind of form like a pyramid. So the seal closest to us is like we mess him up. I use elemental blast. My 2 action slots, the 2 action .1 instead of the 1 action, so I can get a bit more damage off. And then with my last action, I activate it's like thermal nimbus. It creates a 10-foot radius around me where the temperature rises. So it gets really hot. And my allies gain like +5 heat resistance. And any creature inside is dealt 2 AC damage of fire or something like that. So I end up setting everything in this 10-foot radius on fire, and my party and us were just chilling in there. And I end my turn. I didn't really deal a whole lot of damage with the elemental blast. These seals were kind of tough, but we killed the one closest to us, and the other 2 seals, both of them have to make will saving throws because the nature of them, they're like predators, but they only prey on easy prey. So now that we're fighting back, they're kind of like, oh, whoa. One of them decides to stay and fight because he rolls like a 25, and the other rolls like a 7. So the seal just runs off and abandons his buddy. But we ended up beating the crap out of this last seal, and the archer runs down behind the seal, and he one-shots this thing. He has this like special arrow that just, the way my brother described it, because my brother's the GM, is that the arrow, we're in front of the seal and he's behind it, so we see this arrow fly in, like come out, jut out one like eye through the eye socket, and then his head explodes because this arrow was infused with like an owl, and it goes in and the owl like explodes out of his head. It was insane. And so we end up dealing with that. We found this like skeleton that had like a bunch of treasure on him. One of them was an item that really helps out our archer. It grants this like crazy ranged buff. It was a magical helmet. And then, they just had some jewelry. We ended up finding this big hermit crab. And at first I was like, okay, let's kill it. Because it was aggro. It was not a nice hermit crab. But before we entered initiative, my brother was like, it looks like the boat can be. It was angry because the shell that it had on was too small. So if we found a shell that was bigger for this big hermit crab, it would leave us alone. And our dark elf lady has animal speak. So she just spoke to the animal. Not animal speak, but she has something like it. So we ended up not killing him, and we found him a new house. And there was this oyster, or an oyster on top of the hermit crab that fell off after it got its new shell. And it had this really black pearl in it. It was like 50 gold worth. It was, pretty nice. And we ended up going inside this one house, and as soon as we enter, we all roll for stealth. And then as soon as we enter, my brother rolls perception checks for all of us. And luckily enough, the person in front that entered through the door rolled high enough to notice that it was a trap. There were like these axes like in the ceiling. And so we were trying to figure out what to do. And because my character works in the boiler room, he has a +10 to engineering lore. So I was like, can my character like see like the like what will trigger this trap, or like anything to help out? And he was like, okay, roll an engineering check. So I roll and I get a 16 on my first try. But I had a hero point. So I used my hero point to re-roll. I end up getting a nat 20 +10, which is 30, which is a 2 times critical success. So my brother is like sitting there like in denial, like, how did you roll that? There goes like part of the story. So what happens is, my character, on one side of the room, there's this mechanical box with a bunch of levers, and it's very clear that it controls the swinging axes that are in the roof that'll come down if anyone enters the room. So my character like analyzes everything. He looks up at the swinging axes, he looks at the box, and he finds like the junction point of where the box and the swinging axes kind of like meet. And it's like, my brother's like, if you throw something right at that weak spot, it'll disable the trap. Like, it just won't work. So my character is also a hoarder. So I have a bunch of stuff in my backpack. So I just get out this like handsaw that I've been carrying around, and I just chuck it right at the weak spot. It breaks. And I just walk in. But I do this without telling the rest of the party. So this like 3-foot gnome dude just walks right in, nonchalant, about to get like, the rest of the party is like, wait, no, and nothing happens, and he's just like, huh. It was so funny. And I'm glad I did that, because after I did that, my brother was like, dude, if you rolled like a 29, like 30 was the only way to get that. My original plan was to, because I built him out as like a wrestler, kind of really high mobility, my original plan was to powerful leap to the box, to like jump over whatever was on the floor. And I told him that, and he was like, yeah, that would have triggered the trap and you would have died. Your character just would have gone absolutely like cut in half, like mid jump, just like in the air, just like sliced. I was like, yeah, I'm glad I did the engineering check. And that was where the campaign ended. We do it for like 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours. Usually 4 to 9 is our time slot, but sometimes we'll start at like 5. but it was really funny. It was really fun. This character I'm more invested in than my other character for the other campaign. I still kind of have to figure out what I want to do with the other character for the other campaign, but I really like this one. Like kineticist is such like a fun like class to play, because it seems like there's a lot I can do. Like I have, because of the way I built him, I have a lot of mobility. I have range, and I also can do melee. Because with kineticist, you can forge weapons out of the element that you wield, right? So I have a free action where I can make just a weapon. So like I'm thinking of like doing like fist, like fire fists, like fire gauntlets that have reach, so I can like clap and like both my fists get like inflamed, and it's like these fiery gauntlets, and I can just like punch and it flies forward, almost like Luffy, like reach attack, fist of flame, something like that. I feel like that'd be cool. That'd be a cool idea for a weapon that I can make and just like. But yeah, that's it for this video. I'm surprised if anyone watches all the way through this. Thank you. I'm surprised anyone still watches the channel, considering I've been doing the same thing for like 4 or 5 months now. I thought it would have died off by now, but that's besides the point. So thank you, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.